Okay. Well, hello, ladies.
Hello.
Hi.
Happy Tuesday.
Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. So nice to see your faces.
You
So
too.
we are here with Lucy and Dani behind Breathe and Be, all the way from Staten Island, New York.
Yeah, so thanks for joining us. And we'll get you to talk a little bit about your business because you'll be able to do a better job than we will. But basically, Dani and Lucy run Breathe and Be, and it is super similar to what Grace and Flow does in Canada. And they really help women to focus on a life that they love. So, do you guys want to talk a little bit about what you do with Breathe and Be?
Sure. So Breathe and Be was started by Lucy and myself. It's a collective wellness brand. We help women create a life that they love. We do this through different events. Our signature event is our Ladies' Night, and to us, it's so important to build a community of women. So these nights are very intimate, and it's a time for all of us to get together and to just share our stories and to empower one another.
Love that. Obviously, we believe in that very strongly as well, and the community of coming together, right?
Yeah.
And collaborating together.
And it's very cool because we connected, the four of us, via Instagram not that long ago, a couple months ago. And that's actually how Jessica and I met as well, was through Instagram. So how did you two meet?
So cool.
Actually, I was hosting the first ever Ladies' Night for the Soul. It was my project, my passion project. This is something I wanted to have in the area where we live, and there was nothing available, so I hosted one. And Dani showed up all the way across the town, from town, like where she lives, and she was the only one who I didn't know from the circle. Everybody else were my friends or acquaintances. She was the only one, and we just connected right away. And that's how it started. After that, we kept in touch, and at some point, Dani offered me to take it further, and that's what we did. By the way, we've been following you guys for since probably the beginning of our Instagram, of Breathe and Be Instagram. It was actually called Heal in the beginning. And you were the inspiration, because we were like, oh, they're doing something similar. We like this, how the Instagram looks. We like the idea behind the business. So we've connected not so long ago, but you've been our inspiration for way longer than that. And for that, we thank you.
Well, thank you.
Wonderful to hear that.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad that we have connected because I feel like we've had some good conversations since then. And I'm looking forward to today's conversation. And I'm hoping that it's something that we can maybe one day we'll be able to meet in person.
That would be fun.
We would love that.
And so there's lots going on around you. There's, the current state of the world. Can you tell us a little bit about just, current conditions, what's happening right now for you?
Well, if we're being very honest, in the area where we live in Staten Island, it's pretty quiet. The effects of pandemic are still pretty much in effect, even though the restrictions just have been lifted. But people are very hopeful. Everybody enjoying summer. Everybody starts seeing each other, so we're not as sheltered anymore. I would imagine it's tougher in Manhattan and Brooklyn for people who live in apartments. Where we live, it's more like houses, and there's not that many apartment buildings. So it's the overall vibe is hopeful. People start coming out of their hermit modes, and it's getting better. And I don't know, riots are pretty much it was left to peaceful protests for now. So nothing scary is happening anymore, I guess. At least that's what I heard. There was nothing happening in our area, but Manhattan looks pretty um, sad at this point. Yeah, it's not the same Manhattan you would see on the pictures.
Right.
No, I imagine not. It's been, well, in Canada, as far as the pandemic, things are starting to open back up here. Restaurants and malls are open, and people are definitely a lot more social and going out and about now. So it feels like there's a sense of normalcy coming back. So that's been pretty nice.
Mm-hmm.
And then as far as there's been some peaceful protests in the Black Lives Matter revolution here in Canada and some of the larger cities, but we in our small town, we've just been following along on social media and the news and trying to educate ourselves that way. And yeah, it's pretty shocking to see what's been going on down to the neighbors to the south of us.
Sure.
Yeah. And, we're just, like Caitlin said, we're trying to educate ourselves and see what we can do and how we can be there for others, because there's a lot of high emotions, and, we don't want to not be a part of it either, just because, there's maybe just a few small protests here, peaceful protests, but we feel like, it's hard to know what to do and how we can be there for others.
As from my own personal experience as a health coach, I feel like the most important thing that people can do when others might be going through some pain or trauma is to just be there to listen. And I feel like sometimes everyone doesn't need their problem solved, through conversation. They just need somebody to be there to listen to them and really be compassionate toward them and send them as much love, and help them through it in any way that you could. But I think, like you said, educating yourself and just being there for them is the most important thing that we can do right now,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
During this hard time.
Also, probably talking to kids and just trying to absorb everything that's happening, because it's been laying dormant for so long. We don't even know where to start.
I know, right? Well, I mean, at least there's some form of change, right? I feel like this is going to bring about some change, if not already. Some changes happening, which I mean can only be a good thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're here also hoping for unity and for everyone to be as one. Things like racism should not exist in 2020 and further. They should not have been existed a long time before that, but apparently they did. So now it's time to listen, learn, and change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we totally agree. So yeah, obviously this is a very heavy time for a lot of people all across the world right now, and it can be hard to maintain some sort of positivity in your day-to-day life, especially when you are so tuned into the media and things like that. So we're kind of just wondering, what are some things that you ladies are doing every day that you commit to help stay positive?
Sure. Start. So I think the morning is the most important part of my day. It should be for everyone.
Wait, that's my speech.
So for me, I like to set up my mornings as far as I'm a Course in Miracles student, so I have a meditation every day, and it's all about rewiring the way that you see things, because we're so programmed to see, the world out of fear that, it could be a really scary place. So for me, it's doing a Course in Miracles meditation every morning. I always love to do some type of movement, and my favorite is my Peloton bike, which I'm a huge fan of. So
me too.
So I always get on with an instructor that really inspires me. So as much as it is a great movement, it's such a great mental exercise for me as well. And I really try to eat healthy foods because I feel that that's what makes me feel better. And I think, at the end of a day, like if I did have a stressful day, always try to be gentle to myself and not be so judgmental and just be more caring as I would for one of my kids if they were having a bad day. So to like kind of just let it go that it was maybe, maybe tonight you need a little extra, extra TLC, a little extra love. But so those are my daily routines that I like to keep.
Right. So my routine would be, I guess, similar, but my main focus is always on morning. I wake up pretty early because I have family and kids. So before everyone wakes up, this is me time. I think it's very important for me, especially. It's very important to do it in the morning before everyone up. Um, because it removes the victimhood and the blame game, when I try to squeeze things in during the day, like meditation, and kids need something to pick up from the room I'm meditating in right that second, it removes just all this irritations, unnecessary irritations, and I can invest in myself, and this is my self-love ritual. I call it magic morning. It consists out of 5 things. Magic water, water with lemon, warm water with lemon. As soon as I wake up, this is warm water with lemon. While I drink that water, it's magic morning pages. I just sit down and I write whatever comes to my mind to release the anxiety, to express myself, to think the thoughts, that kind of get stuck in your head. And once I'm done with the water and pages, I go to workout. I don't work out excessively, like 20, 30 minutes, but it's important for me to move my body. It gives me a lot of energy, and energy brings a lot of positivity and lots of good energy flow into my brain. And then after that, I meditate for a bit, which brings the peace and calm. And then I finish it off with affirmations. I have been doing affirmations for a while now, and it's a great tool to bring um, a lot of positivity and retrain your brain to tune into the good vibrations around you. That
Yeah,
would be
I love
like
that. Morning routines are so important. Like I
Yeah.
never thought that that's basically what being adults all about. It's like talking about your morning routine, changing your morning routine,
Yeah.
sticking to your morning
Stick to
routine.
it. I feel like we talk about it a lot too, and I hope that people aren't bored with hearing about our
I'm
morning
never bored
routine,
of hearing
but
people's
I
morning
love
routines.
hearing what people do, and I love what you guys do, and I feel like you've really set some good boundaries around your mornings too, and those specific routines, because you know that it works for you, and like you said, it takes away the victimizing and the blame game and the irritation with because I've got little kids too, being like, I didn't get time to do what I needed to do, and it's your fault. Whereas, getting up
Right.
and just setting your goal for the day, it sets you up, right? I know.
Absolutely. Different day. It's a different day. If I roll out of bed and I like am off my schedule, wow. Like the poor household will suffer because you really need to be grounded in the morning. It's so important.
Yeah, totally. A woman I just came across on Insight Timer who's amazing at affirmations is Cheryl B. Engelhardt. She has like affirmation meditations for all different categories like abundance, healing, grief, self-acceptance, and yeah, she's like changed the game. She's so awesome. So
we'll put that in the Facebook comments too. We'll put her name in there. And if you guys have any resources too, we'll just drop those all in there so people can have because I'd love to hear her affirmations too.
Yeah.
What about you girls?
We're pretty similar. Yeah. I mean, I don't. So my morning routine's very slow, and like I try not to rush through it too much. But I remember I used to always get up and go sit either on the floor and meditate. And then it was like maybe last year you told me that you meditate in bed still, and I was like, I'm doing that. Why would I get on this morning bed? So I stay in bed and meditate, and then I have like a little gratitude practice that I do in a little notebook, and I drink like chaga mushroom extract in my water every morning. So I chug a bottle of that and then before the coffee comes. Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
I try to get up pretty early. One time Caitlin was over early and she had her phone set to do not disturb until like quite late. And I was like, what? I'm up so early. But it's just different, right? Because my kids, one of them likes to get up pretty early. So I try to get up at least an hour before he does. And I like the warm lemon water. That's my favorite in the morning as well. I like to meditate before I even get out of bed. I sleep with my window open, and we live in an area where there's big trees and I can hear lots of birds chirping, and that's really a happy place for me. So I spend just time, awakening and welcoming the day before I even get out of bed. And then I usually do the same thing. I move my body. We've got our Grace and Flow yoga studio here. So I just hop down here and whatever it is, sometimes I do a more intense Pilates workout. Sometimes I just stretch and then finish the morning with a little bit of affirmations. Usually by then Nate, my youngest, is woken up and runs down. Sometimes he's like hopping on top of me if I'm doing downward dog. The other day there was a little chair in here because he brought in his cereal and a little chair, and he was eating his cereal while I finished my my exercise. But that's fine. Such a good way. Yeah.
That's awesome. Perfect.
I really do need it. And so I wanted to find out, like, I know this is quite a broad question, but have you always been like this? And have you always sort of had, you're very positive people and you inspire others to be positive? And have you always had a positive outlook on life, or was there something that kind of triggered you to like, we need to do this?
Well, we had different experiences with how we got there, but we can both agree that you have to get somewhere very low to realize that something has to change. For me, it was I got at some point to the very depressive state, like very depressive. And I was even afraid to go to the doctors, but it was very obvious that I was very depressed. And at some point, I realized that it's going so bad that I actually might die, And that thought made me actually, like, it scared me, because, like, from day to day life, you don't notice when you just, like, sometimes when you're not being positive, and especially if you're depressed, it feels like this is just how life is. And a lot of people live this life, all the time. They don't know that it can be different and that it should be different, in fact. So for me, it took that moment of being scared for my life and for my health to start digging into what can be done. And I know Dani had a similar revelation, right, at some point.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably like 3 years ago, and I was just like, this is not what life is supposed to be like. It's just like a roller coaster. You have your ups and your downs, and I don't know, I guess it was something like burning inside of me saying, no, this is not the way it's supposed to be. So I feel like that's when I almost like was like, okay, I'm pleading with God, like, just show me something different. And I feel like when you ask for things and put things out there, you're totally supported. And it was like one thing after another, just people and mentors and books were just placed in my way. And once I started reading them and listening to different podcasts or people or speakers, I was so inspired that I could never go back to the way that I used to feel. Like, I was determined. And ever since that day that I was like, there can't be, I feel like there was like almost like a weight lifted off of your shoulders or out of your heart almost. And that's when I was like, oh my gosh, everyone needs to know, like, it doesn't have to be so hard. It could be so easy. It's just the way that we see things. And so little by little, you just rewire the way that you approach life. And it's wild because you could just walk outside and, like, maybe you didn't get along with your neighbor, and now all of a sudden it's like your neighbor was helping you do something, and it's just, you ask and you receive, and the more you give, the more you have. And there's just so much that we wanted to share with others because we saw such a change in our lives that we feel like all women should feel that way and feel supported and feel loved and love themselves. And I could go on forever, but you get the point.
Yeah, I think it's a lot like shifting your perspective on, you know, you can wake up and see your day, see all the difficulties and the challenges in it and maybe some of the negative sides, or if you just change the way that you view things, you can wake up and have the exact same day and notice all the little wins that come across your day or all the, you know, the beautiful things.
100%. They say
I mean, it's not easy, but it's a practice for sure.
No, it's not easy, and that's why every day, like you said, you start your morning off and you set yourself up for as much success as you can. But they say your world is a mirror of your mind. So whatever's going on inside there, you will see. So instead of, if you're looking in a mirror and you don't like the shirt you're wearing, you're not going to yell at it or judge it, or you're just going to change. So it's the same thing with your mind. If you don't like what's going on, it's up to you to take responsibility for that and stop blaming others and you know, do your best to take control of what's going on inside your minds, because only you can do that.
I think it can be really hard to take some of those first steps though. And I know that, you know, for instance, Caitlin and I, we are both yoga instructors. We practice a lot of yoga and we meditate. And, you know, we know that yoga meditation for us works, but that might not work for other people. I mean, who knows if it even works for the majority of people. But, you know, what are some kind of small steps that people can take, or like, you know, little tips that you have on how to kind of, you know, shift your mindset, but in small, achievable ways?
I think the most important thing, I don't think we have like steps.
No.
We don't have steps. But like you can do a little every day. Things like just being mindful and being present. Like catch yourself a couple times a day on where you are now, how you're feeling. If you don't like the way you're feeling, what can you do about it? How can you treat yourself? Or what can you do to make yourself feel better? Because when we feel better, we start to look on things, you know, in a different way. If you're constantly irritated, it doesn't help to see environment differently either. So the first step will be just, you know, take the small pit stops, you know,
Checking in
Just
with
breathe,
yourself.
right?
Yourself
Yeah.
on the day, to stay present, to feel your body, to breathe, you know, to just like take a breath and just feel how you're feeling. What is it that you're feeling
I
right
think
now?
that's, you said the word, it's breathe. A lot of people are in this stress response all day and they don't even know it. They're just constantly going, we're distracting, we're just keep getting themselves worked up. And I think the most important thing, if I can give any advice, is to like find a quiet place and just take a deep breath and really just breathe in and breathe out and just really be aware of that breath, because I think right there you can't even think straight when you're in stress response. You really need to get yourself calmed down. So, you know, if I would say one thing and you're just feeling anxious, it would just be to just breathe and just take a deep breath and give yourself 5 minutes of just breathing without trying not to think about anything at the moment, or just really concentrating on breathing in and breathing out, and you won't be able to think about anything else because you're concentrating on your breathing. But I think it's so important for us to get to that stage of calmness in order to even think clearly.
Right.
Have you found that your friends, family, or even your following online, that they have been focusing more on the breathing, the slowing down during this time? Because, I mean, if one thing great that COVID-19, the pandemic, has brought us is the appointments are gone, the deadlines are gone. So there is I personally find a lot less rushing and a lot less stress in some cases for some people. So what is your following what have they been reaching out to you guys or kind of telling you their experience throughout this thing?
Well, you see, when something drastically changes very fast, not always people are able to see the blessing in it. So we've been living the life so full, so fast for so long that as soon as it drastically stopped, people freaked out. For them, in the beginning, it wasn't like, oh my gosh, now we have all this time. For them, it was all the fears went up through the roof. Uncertainty, the whole family at home, people not used to this. So there was so many things bottled up all at once. So in the beginning, nobody could even understand that this is a blessing in disguise. And then after a couple months, people got used to the idea of sitting at home. And what we heard, I guess, that people started enjoying it. You know, like people actually trained themselves, retrained themselves to take the time to enjoy life, to sip coffee slower, you know, because there's nowhere to rush.
Yeah.
So people adjust, you know, people always adjust, maybe not right the second when it happens, but people do adjust. And I personally can say that I would miss this time. It was a very tense couple months for me personally. I've been going through a lot of transformations, you know, myself, but still the way of life. This is something I haven't experienced since childhood. I don't remember not having anywhere to rush or just waking up in the morning and taking time to make pancakes on Wednesday. You know, it's just these things are incredible, and appreciating so many more things like family and good weather or friends that you get to see. You know, you just got this new taste for life and for all the things in it.
I know. I think that for myself, took a lot of that stuff for granted, that we could see our friends whenever we wanted or hug, our neighbors
Right?
or go out. And so now that we're slowly being allowed to do those things, I'm really appreciating it. And I loved how you said it almost brought you back to your childhood, because I felt the same way, that, I was able to, smell the roses, wander through my garden and spend time doing the things that I have not done in years, just because we've been so busy in this, feeling that we have to keep doing something. And there's always a need to have an appointment. And I don't even know if any of those things were really that necessary.
Right, 100% right. Absolutely.
That's wonderful. I feel like I could talk about this forever, because there's one other thing that I've been doing a little bit of research on lately around how setting small goals for yourself and keeping track of them, like really achievable. I think you were saying it's five, like you have 5 goals a day or something.
6, yeah.
6 goals, and then really being able to make sure that you finish those small goals creates this release of feel-good hormones in your body, right? Like an endorphin release, or dopamine, I think is the hormone. Don't quote me on that. And then, so it starts to create this sort of cycle in your body where you're able to get rid of some of that cortisol and those stress hormones and gain confidence in yourself. And it's really all it is these tiny little, goals that you're keeping to yourself. But it's, it's small, but it's those kinds of changes and those boundaries that you set that seem to make such a huge difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think one from our audience too, because we asked our following on Instagram what sort of tips they had for a positive mindset. And I believe that someone wrote in and said that keeping track of her daily goals, and just like I think even just watching yourself cross it off or like tick it off sends a little win to the brain.
Just so you can like trust yourself almost, and then it creates these
and confidence.
No. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Another thing that I just remembered, Positivity and positive mindset, it's always a choice, and that's something people don't always think about. It is a choice, just like everything else in life. In each given moment, we have to choose how to react with love, to react with hate, to judge, to not judge, to smile or to frown, for everything. So just realization that this is something you have control over. This is not something some people have and others don't, or that takes years of practice. It's the little things, today you will catch yourself twice or once, on making the positive choice, on smiling at your child, instead of scolding him, or smiling at your husband, or smiling at a stranger. And that's already a way to positivity. And over time, your brain picks up more and more. It learns new ways of being. And that's, that's what it all is about.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well, I don't want to keep you guys all day. I think, do we have one other question we want to ask them, and then we can wrap things up?
Yeah, I kind of wanted to ask, how do you guys incorporate a positive vibe within your business? Do you find that there's different things that you do within the business, maybe like with each other, or even in your planner or on your Instagram or anything like that, that's maybe a little different than you do in your morning routine or your day-to-day?
Well, we don't really incorporate it. Positivity is a huge part of our business. We're in the business of connecting people, of creating the environment of safety and trust and joy. So positive mindset is something that we teach our followers, that we teach women who come to our events. And in general, for us, being open and easygoing and good to each other, like it helps us that we are very similar in this way because we went through similar journeys and we met at the right moment at the right time, that we're able to build our business with positive mind, with openness, with trust, and it's it's in the core of everything for us.
Mm-hmm.
So this is something we practice every day, and this is something we teach all our women. That and probably self-love is another core um, thing that our business is built on. So whatever we do, all the exercises, all the interactions is always based on positive mindset.
And it seems like at your events, because you sometimes bring in collaborations as well, right? That you're trying to build up other businesses too.
Yes, this is another thing. Yeah, it's so important to our to us and to our business is that's what we truly feel is the more we give, the more we have. So the more we can help other women, we're always benefiting at the end of the day, whether it's just to help them grow or to be a friend or to just promote them in any way we can. We never feel like we need to feel competitive, or we want to see everyone succeed, and however we could help, that's really what our goal is. And I think that's what sets us apart from a lot of other different types of businesses. This is what makes it so powerful, is because there is no competition. It's we want to give as much as we can to help. So it's collaboration throughout. Yeah.
Right? Let's not compete. Let's come together and celebrate.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I love that. And I would love to leave our listeners with some self-care tips, or maybe a self-care routine that you guys have. So if you have something that you want to touch on here, we can. If not, we can always put it in the comments afterwards as well.
Yeah, I think maybe like what's something, do you have an evening routine? Like one self-care thing that maybe you want to like wind down after a busy day?
I'm a huge essential oil person, so I have a bottle of lavender.
Oh,
And when I come into bed and my husband's like, "Whoa, did you have a period?" I'll just like put it all over myself, and it honestly just calms me down. I don't know what it is, but it's like that's something that I totally love, and I could not live without at the end of the day. I'm like, but I do love that. I do love like essential oils and the smell and just like chilling out. I shut my phone off. I have a timer on my phone, 8 o'clock. I do not get any more phone calls or emails or anything like that. So for me, that helps because otherwise I'd be like scrolling endlessly and not even realize. But so for me, those are things. It's like shut off and just calm down.
So smart.
Well, I just learned something new about myself. I don't have the evening routine. Because I have such an extensive morning routine. So
Yeah.
sometimes when I'm very stressed or I just feel like treating myself extra, I would take a bath with the bath bombs. That's my thing. But to do something every single day, I need to work on that.
It's a work. I feel like I'm always a work in progress, right? It's
Absolutely.
Yeah.
not the same every day, and
Adulting never stops.
awesome. Well, thank you so much for this discussion today, you guys. It was really, really nice to chat with you.
Thank you so
Thank you so
much.
much for having us.
in the future.
Yeah, I'd love to do more of these if we can.
We would love to too, and we hope to see you in person
I
soon.
Well, stay safe, and we're really thinking of you guys down in Staten Island a lot.
Thank you, girl.
Thank you. Thank you. Mwah. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.